I want to thank you and welcome you to my house for my presentation on the geology of earth fissures in Arizona. The first thing I'd like you to do is take a look at these first two pictures and tell me if you can find any similarities between this picture of the desert and this picture of a cake just out of the oven.
Yes.
If you recognize the fact that both of them have major cracks, you're not alone. Everybody notices that. And in fact, the cracks that exist in the cake and those in the desert southwest, known as fissures, have the same energies and forces that create these types of cracks. The definition of an earth fissure in southern Arizona, in fact in all of the southwest, is a crack in the ground caused by tensional forces pulling the ground apart and differential subsidence. The subsidence differentially is due in the southwest to the extraction of groundwater from below. I'm going to discuss very quickly the major geological features that create this differential compaction or subsidence. First of all, the desert southwest has ranges or mountains and basins. The mountains are made of bedrock, very non-porous material, can't hold water very well. The basins in between the mountains are filled with sedimentary rock that's accumulated over the ages. And along with this accumulation, the water has filled the pores between the particles that created the sedimentary rock. In this case, before 1900, the level of the water in the sedimentary material in the basins is almost equal to the top level of the ground. After 1900, men came along with deep wells, which allowed us to extract or mine the aquifer water from below, and this process exceeded the contribution of the rain from above. So the water level, or water table as it's known, started to decline underneath the ground, leaving the sedimentary rock above and the pores that used to contain the water empty now. These empty pores allowed the compaction of the dirt on top because of the weight and the lack of support of the water that used to exist there. Today, that water level has gone way down. In some cases in Arizona, it's 400 feet below. The water level has gone down 400 feet below what it was initially. Remember the cake and the pan and the cracks? The same thing occurs here. The subsidence of the ground due to the extraction of water has caused a subsidence in ground level here, and lack of subsidence near the mountain ranges supported by the granite and the rock material. This area did not subside. This did. This creates a differential subsidence, and the stresses are exhibited here in these earth fissure cracks that go from the surface, typically all the way down to the groundwater below. So those are the forces that create the subsidence, and here's an example of an earth fissure and the subsidence-related fissure that it created. Here's an example of the subsidence, the actual dropping of the soil surface. This is a minor example, but there's about 3 feet between the well casing, which was supported from beneath by ground that never moved, and the subsidence of the emptied sedimentary rock above from the initial floor of the pump house. Earth-related fissures in Arizona occur in 4 counties currently. Pima has simply one up in Marana. The other 3 counties have much, much more. Those counties are Cochise, Pinal, and Maricopa. The reason they have so many fissures is because they have farmland, and farming requires the extraction of a great deal of water. And since more water is removed, more subsidence occurs in these counties. The dangers of earth fissures are primarily to property. No human has ever been killed by the emergence of one of these cracks in the ground. But extensive property damage has happened, and groundwater contamination can also happen because you have a crack now right down to the aquifer water below from the surface, which can allow surface contamination to hit water below. And one, of course, livestock is always in danger of falling into one of these crevasses. Here's an example of one of those dangers. A split, a fissure that's occurred right across a dirt road. This occurred just north of Picacho Peak. To summarize, earth fissures are caused by the extraction of groundwater and the subsidence of land above due to that, and the tensional forces created by that subsidence. That's the extent of my presentation. Do I have any questions? Ernie?
Well, it's very interesting. I've never actually have seen one up close, but yeah, I understand that here in the Tucson Valley, that there was at one time, 20 years ago, there was as much water underneath the valley
Right.
as it would measure as high as the whole Catalina Mountains. So I mean, that was
Yeah.
a story
Well,
that stuck in my mind that I heard, and I said, wow, that's a lot of water.
the Santa Cruz River used to flow, even during your lifetime.
Exactly.
So that's an indication that the water level, the groundwater level, was near the surface, because when it's so far below, it's about 100 feet below the surface here. Not too bad here in Tucson. But anytime water dumps into the river from rain, the water immediately percolates down until it hits the aquifer below, where it stops. So it has nothing to support it anymore. It has, that groundwater is totally missing. Yes?
How do you know if you buy a house if it has a fissure near it? I mean, obviously it would be
It's a good
dangerous to buy a house and
Very
if it
good
opens up,
question.
you could lose your house.
Yeah, the state of Arizona, the Geologic Survey, has 4 full-time employees who are researching fissures in Arizona and mapping them to allow homeowners to know if they have fissures in the vicinity, and buyers to know if they're going to buy a house that has a fissure and the danger of a fissure penetrating into their house. Thank you very much. I appreciate you coming over.